Light?
You're alive. Okay. It says we're alive. It says we're alive.
This is so All right. Let me try to go as
So let me move
forward as possible.
Do I need to
Want lights?
Yeah, I wonder if I should move my desk back. Okay, let's get it from a little bit.
Yeah.
Let me move my desk back. It's all right. All of this is part of the life. You know, so I was gonna move.
Oh, you have books on it. Your books are still really, really heavy.
So, okay.
Let me try to.
Perfect.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, it's good enough. Hey! The bell is on.
Hi.
Hello. Sorry, we had to move things around a little bit.
Yeah. No, you can see all our pores now, for sure. Good to go.
So good. Are you good?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
good.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. Okay, we're going to wait a few minutes for people to join. So, yes. Welcome. Can you? Okay, good.
Yes.
So you can hear us. Perfect. Okay.
Are we loud enough?
Are we loud enough? Can you hear? Oh. Now live. Yes. Okay. Are we loud enough? Hey, excited. So we'll give a few, couple minutes.
Okay, good.
Awesome. Welcome, everyone.
Hi.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Israel.
Irawar.
Hi, Irawar. Send a note really quickly about the fact that we've started, that we are live.
We are live. Oh, this is perfect. They can't see
right now. We'll probably even disclose to them. Probably disclose to them that we are going to be sharing things. Okay, give me a second. I share the link on my story.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, so we have 2 people with us. We'll see how that goes in about 1 minute, and then we'll kick off. Yeah, this is fascinating.
First time, right? First time using
YouTube Live. I've never done YouTube Live.
Yeah.
So remember to guide. Okay, so I guess when we're done, and then I can always save it. Perfect. All right, we're gonna get started because it's 2:10, and we're trying to start at 2. So we're gonna get started so we don't keep people waiting, and we can start the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So hello everyone, my name is Remy. Thanks for coming to my channel. On my channel, I discuss on faith, lifestyle, and development. So if you're interested in any of those things, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm really excited today because I have my friend here. Her name is Grace. Grace and I have been friends for years now.
Really long
and she's
time.
Awesome. So if you've seen my 30th birthday video, you probably have seen Grace because she was there.
I made a small appearance.
So I'm happy to have Grace, on my channel today, and we're going to be talking to you guys and having a conversation on feminism. Grace, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Grace. I'm very bad with introductions, so I'm very excited about this topic. I would say that's my introduction. I'm very excited. Anyone that knows me knows that, we've been talking about feminism and how we need more of it, and be better, feminists, men and women. So, so I'm very excited about this conversation.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Grace, for joining. So, as we know that March is Women's History Month, and I'm one of those who typically my natural instinct or my natural reaction is, well, every month is Women's History Month. So I get that, but at the same time, it's to raise awareness. You know what I mean? So yeah, every day is Christmas, every day is Easter. Jesus died for us every day.
December 25th.
Exactly. And, even for Easter, like, Jesus died for us. It's relevant all year, but we're going to celebrate on Easter. It's just to raise awareness. It's not to say that only March is when women
it's just
should
when like women are emulated, women are recognized. The ones that you typically wouldn't be every day of the year. In March they're highlighted, just like in Black History Month. Well, yes, we're Black every day, we're doing this every day, but Black History Month is when a lot of the greats, the greats were highlighted, from who started what, who did what, who's doing what now. So I've always appreciated celebrations of something, just because it's always good to highlight something a little bit extra.
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely. So I love it. I love Women's History Month, and I figured this is a great time to talk about feminism. And also International Women's Day is in March as well, because of Women's History Month. International Women's Day is another day that I really, really, really like, because it's just like, it shows you that, okay, women, we are relevant, we matter. We're not less than men. We've done a lot of great things, and we should be recognized for it. So it's just very, it's awesome to be able to celebrate International Women's Day and talk about feminism and raise awareness and things like that. So just to give some context, for this live video, it's relaxed, it's a conversation, and we'll be looking at our notes. So we prepared, we have notes on our phones, we have paper notes. So you might see us looking down or looking to the side on our notes. We got books, exactly. So, it's just to share and, discuss and things like that. So, and also it's to serve as some form of informational video. So we're talking, we're having a conversation, but also educating and raising awareness on feminism. And the topic that I had put for this live was feminism is not a curse word. And feminism is not a curse word. And the reason I say that is because when we hear feminism, some of us, we don't want to be associated with it because it sounds so bad based on what people think it is, which is not, right? Grace, what do you think about feminism is not a curse word? Like, why would someone say that?
Absolutely. So, funny enough, when I posted the ad, the promotional flyer that we had, one of my cousins in Nigeria sent me a text and says, "Oh, feminism means something different in America, right?" I'm assuming that she probably thinks it means something completely like horrible. Everybody thinks feminism means this terrible thing, but feminism has one meaning to me, whether you're in America, whether you're in Nigeria, whether you're in, and I think people just have this idea that feminism is anti-men. So when you're a feminist, you hate men, but that's not what feminism is at all. At least not to me. And the definition of feminism doesn't talk about hating men. So it's not a curse word, to your point, because, it's just wanting equality.
Correct. And I guess, I also wanted to ask, and for the people on the chat, first of all, do you consider yourself a feminist? Right. So I'd like to get responses. So do you consider, have you ever thought about it? Or do you even know? Do you consider yourself a feminist? And what do you think from a personal perspective on for the people on the chat? Because I'm just curious, because I don't think sometimes people even think about it, right?
Yeah.
They are feminists, but they haven't labeled themselves. Well, if you hear what they say and how they think, it sounds like a feminist view, but they haven't called themselves a feminist. So I'm really curious, like, are you a feminist?
Yeah, funny thing is, many women, so many women, even some men, they believe they're so anti-feminist or feminism, or they're not supportive of the movement, or they think it's a movement, right? Because wanting equality is just, it shouldn't be a movement. It should just be a lifestyle, right? So I've actually never been a big fan of calling it a movement, because I've always thought that it should just be every day. It's part of your life. Movements come and go, right? Feminism should just be part of wanting equality for everyone, should just be a part of your everyday, like your everyday life. So that's why I think once you get down to the real definition and then like what it means to you, you realize that more people are feminists than they think. Yeah.
That's a great point, because like you said, it's if it's a movement, it's a come and to go, it's to get hot and to get cold.
Yeah.
But no, it's an everyday thing.
Right. It's part of your life, you know?
So somebody says, I do not. I think this is the question of, are you a feminist?
Yeah. What do you? Yeah.
Somebody said, I do not, but I have been told that I sound like one based on my views.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's the person talking. I'm pretty sure you're a feminist. You just don't want it. You just refuse to associate it to it.
And I guess, and we'll get to that in the conversation, right? As to why some people are hesitant to identify as a feminist, right? Because if something is a great thing, if something is a positive thing, I would want to identify and be part of that thing, right? But if I'm not sure of that thing, I would not be. I would
right.
I would not want to identify. So we'll get into the details later.
Yeah.
And then someone says, I think I'm a feminist. I'm probably not an active feminist though.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Okay. So for the video, we're going to give some history, some historical context to feminism. This is part of the educational piece, and we're going to just shed some light on it, right? And different things that we can do and different things that shows feminism.
Yeah.
And different thoughts and things like that. So to my point earlier on International Women's Day, and the reason why we're doing this, the point of International Women's Day is March 8th. It's on Monday. Yes, and the theme for this year is Choose to Challenge. So we are challenging everything that we don't stand for as feminists. We're challenging the bias. We're challenging, inequality. We're challenging oppression of women. Grace mentioned the other day when I was speaking with her, just challenging things that seem to be normal for women, expectations that seem to be normal for women, but they're not, and they should not be normal.
Right.
So we're challenging a lot of things. So the point of IWD, International Women's Day, to celebrate women's achievements, is to raise awareness about women's equality. So to the point of raising awareness, yes, every day we can raise awareness, but if we come together one month and all do the same thing, there's impact, and it goes a long way. To lobby for accelerated gender parity. So when you see people protesting, when you see people, trying to shatter glass ceilings, when you see people questioning things and challenging things, it's because we want there to be equality in terms of, women and how women are dealt with in society. So that being said, just to give some history on feminism. So give me a minute. So the word feminism, right? So the birth of feminism can be traced to the 18th century and the early 19th century. And the word feminism did not gain currency until like 1890s. That's when the word feminism actually was birthed. And at that time, women were starting to express their views on certain things, express how they felt about certain things. So, it got to a point whereby women came together, they started to write, they started to talk in like coffee shops or in their friend's house. They started to have little conversations about what they were experiencing as women, what they were going through as women, and just coming together to use their voice to raise objection to how women were being treated. So that's just to give an idea of how feminism started. So they were exploring their situations through writing and discussions, and raising awareness and things like that. Because back in the day, and even to now, to some people, women were regarded as naturally inferior to men.
To men. Yeah.
Right.
In so many countries. Our lovely, beloved Nigeria is still working on that. God help us with them. But
yeah, on many levels too, intellectually, socially. Intellectually, people think that men should have tougher jobs, or
yes.
I don't know what that means,
because
but
they believe that men are physically stronger, or born physically stronger than women. So any job that requires sweat, that requires physical strength, only men should be able to do it. Which is
weird. And even jobs that seem to be intellectually tasking. For example, if you want to be a doctor, they believe that a man should be a doctor versus a woman. So if a woman becomes a doctor, it's almost like you're a doctor. I mean, it's crazy.
Like a female doctor? Yeah.
That's another thing we're going to talk about. So about like
female
doctor.
What is that?
What is that exactly? Do we say male doctor?
Confused.
So things like that. Women have been naturally seen to be inferior to men, which is very problematic. And that's how the whole idea of the birth of feminism came about, to say, you know what? No, we're not inferior. We are the same. We're equal. God created us the same, and things like that. And then the struggle for equal rights. In the 1840s to 1944, there was a struggle for equal rights, again, showing the history of how women have been fighting. Women have been trying to be on the same path and the same, be treated the same way as a man. There was this quote, says, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men and women are created equal. The birth of the suffrage movement, right to vote in elections." Can you imagine? Even right to vote. We had to fight for the longest time. Exactly. So, just showing that it's really embedded in society and things like that. So, the fact that we have to raise awareness of that is huge. So the struggle for equal rights, somebody said, I have as much muscle as any man, just pretty much saying that we're the same. Yeah. The gender is different, but we're humans and we're the same.
Yes. I mean, as far as the right to vote, I mean, I guess I'm trying to understand. I wasn't born during that time, but I guess I would be curious to understand what could possibly have gone on, why they said, okay, one gender is allowed to vote. They're still not, because they're considered, what would be the reason?
Yeah,
I guess
if men are the ones making policies,
that's true. If it's only men,
and women are are perceived not to be smart. That's right,
because they're home taking
care of children. They don't have the economic,
and they're not reading,
impact.
Right? So they're not educating themselves, quote unquote. Then there's no way they can make laws. Happen.
Exactly. So it's just
fascinating.
What is really happening? So, a woman who contributes cannot be treated contemptuously, and people condone in a man what they consider abominable in a woman. So again, struggle for equal rights and struggle to be treated equally. Things that will be praised when a guy does it is not the same thing that will be praised when a woman does it. When a woman does it, it's an abomination. Yeah. But when a man does it, you're the man. Yeah. You are solid.
Yeah, even now, that's still... even though this was they started fighting this in the 1800s.
Yes.
Even now, it's still a struggle to try to understand that. Because even as growing up, I'm realizing there's even myself, I have to unlearn a lot of things that I'm like, why would she do that? But I see it so normal if a guy does it. I have to physically unlearn that. So if you're not physically aware and intentional about unlearning it, I mean, other people are just it's just normal. It's a norm.
Yeah. And I like what you said about unlearning, because me too, I have to do that, whereby I have to catch myself. Right. Even though I'm very aware of
there's still
feminism,
some things.
Yes. Right. I have to catch myself to say, well, why are you thinking about that right now? I thought you were,
I thought you were a feminist. I'm telling you. Feminists, we're still flawed.
We're women, No, because I think about myself to sometimes Grace, I'm not gonna lie, I get checked in my spirit real quick. For example, if something is convenient, right? Oh God, let's have go into it. If it's time to do ad walk,
put tools together.
Put tools together, that's what.
I'm telling you.
Let's be.
It was this last 2 years that I actually finally started pushing myself.
So-
Okay, I'm like, okay, I got a desk. Instead of waiting for Miwa to come home to come and put it together, let me just read the instructions, right? The instructions are there for that.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to say I'm getting better, but it's very quick to immediately not
rather than just saying, you know what, it's a skill that I should probably learn, but again, society, it's weird. It's so ingrained in us. I don't think we know sometimes, we have to just catch ourselves. So again, we're still on the historical context of feminism. We started with the birth of feminism in the 18th, early 19th century when the word feminism was first crafted. And then we moved to the struggle for equal rights. Now, the personal is political. This was around 1945 to 1979, where a second, more radical wave of feminism flourished between 1960s and the early 80s. So this was influenced by ideas that had begun. So this second wave, so we're now in the second wave of feminism around the 1945 to 1979 mark. And here, seeing women's position as both different from and unequal to men, second wave feminists analyzed every aspect of society, including sexuality, religions, and power, redefining them in relation to the oppression of women. The key concept of the second wave feminism is that the idea of women are not born, but created. So that's to say that the product of social conditioning, how we were talking about society. So when I was born, when Grace was born, God didn't, it was societal conditioning that created us to be
what women are supposed to look like. And what and be and do.
Yes, what women are supposed to be, what they should look like,
what they should wear, what color they should be wearing.
No, that's true.
The pink versus blue.
Pink versus blue.
It's society.
It's society.
Condition that.
What women should not do. So that's the product of social conditioning. And in the second wave feminism, there was a quote that says, "A woman's biology should not determine her life."
Yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly. Because I feel like, I guess the more I realize, the more I'm telling myself, okay, when I have a boy and a girl, I'm going to treat them the same. Because I guess growing up with boys, I realize I'm realizing it now as an adult, how truly different we were raised. Not to anybody's fault, right? But you only do what you know. So if women are supposed to be treated delicately, like flowers, and men are treated rugged, and you realize you grow up with all this anxiety because you're not strong enough. You never thought you were strong enough to do any of these things. And you just have to almost unlearn how you were raised to force yourself to, okay, they're both humans. Raise them the same. Whatever society thinks is not, is not accurate. It shouldn't be accurate at least.
Correct. And it's just like, idealized femininity imposed on women by upbringing, like you said. Upbringing, even education and psychology. So the second wave feminism is like, no, let's challenge the stereotype. I'm all about challenging the stereotype. If somebody is telling me that a woman must do X, Y, Z, why? I'm steady questioning it. Why should I be doing that
based on gender? Like, because I'm a woman, I should be doing that. I don't.
And it's just like,
so
challenging the stereotype, and it's just like, oh my God, So it's just, second wave feminism, often known as the women's liberation movement, the WLM, developed in the context of political activism of the civil rights. Its proponents, so the proponents of second wave feminism, saw feminism as a cause for liberation rather than simply a struggle for equal rights. So it goes past equal rights. So equal rights is one thing. Okay, I want to be able to vote too. I want to be able to have property in my name. I want to be able to work for myself and keep my money and not have to give it to my husband, things like that. So it goes past equal rights. Now, we want liberation, generally.
Just freedom to just be, right?
Yes.
Not because we're women, because we're human.
Exactly. So, so that, is really key. And, for the second wave feminism, women's personal experiences were political and reflected power structures that kept women oppressed. So women's personal experiences showed that women were getting oppressed at home.
Mm-hmm.
And their experiences show that, okay, there's something wrong with this structure. There's something wrong with the structure,
Right.
the power structure. So that's just to give some context on history of feminism. Even, going more into history. Let's talk about this one, Grace. So an American writer wrote back in the day and defined patriarchy, right?
Yeah.
We all know we live in a patriarchal society. We live in a patriarchal society. And the quote that gets me the most? When someone says we live in a man's world, I literally can stand that.
Boys will be boys.
Boys will be boys, or, it's a man's world after all.
It was a whole song, isn't it? This is a man's world.
Yeah. And I'm just like,
yeah.
And the women, though, where are they, though? Like, what happened to us?
Apparently being second citizens.
Exactly. So you want to talk about the defined patriarchy?
Yes. So Kate Millett, an American writer and activist, defined patriarchy, the universal social and political system of male power over women, as the main source of women's oppression.
Yes.
So the man's power, and the fact that it's a man's world, is the main source of women's oppression. Some feminists focus on the nuclear family as a key mechanism in preserving the hold of patriarchy.
While others attack patriarchy and misogyny of the Christian church.
Right. So while others attack patriarchy and misogyny of the Christian church, calling for a feminized form of religion.
Yeah. So this goes to the whole, and we're Christians, right? We're children of God, and
which makes it slightly tricky.
Which makes it slightly tricky because the whole idea of patriarchy is that, okay, the political system of male power over women, right? And to say that, misogyny in the Christian church, for example, when it comes to language, language is important. When you say mankind, I know the Bible is talking about man and woman, but when you but it does something. It does something to the identity of women.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. So I think I'm also working on that, right? Because most women tend to say I think versus just being straight to the point and saying something. So in the church, so we grew up in I would say a patriarchy when it comes to church, and a misogynistic church. I'm trying to be politically correct with that. Okay, so I'll give my full opinion. Okay, let me just.
That's all.
Okay, the church needs to be better. Okay, we need to be better in having a more feminized religion. Yes, I understand the Bible talks a lot about mankind. A lot of things in the Bible were written in form of favoring men, sort of. But I think what I also would like to believe is that the Bible was also written in the patriarchal times, right? So you really write what you know, and I believe wholeheartedly in the Bible. I'm solely for the Bible,
yes.
But I cannot lie to myself when I say that I do not struggle with certain parts when it's solely focusing on women not necessarily being stronger or being equal. Is there something how do you even fix that? I don't even think.
Yeah, I fully I'm on the same page as Grace as well. I'm a Christian. I love Jesus and I love the Bible. But I'm not gonna lie to you. When I'm reading my Bible and I get to certain place that looks very clear, I rush. I just moving on.
Read past, quick.
Read past. I'm not. My brain is immediately saying, "Yeah, I'm not about that. I'm not signing up for that." But I think that it's really important to note that religion, I like to separate religion from your relationship with Christ.
With God. Yes,
I really like
sure.
to, because religion has been so bastardized. It's been so it's just been. But when you have a relationship with Christ, that's not what Jesus preaches.
Jesus loved women.
He did.
Supported women.
Exactly.
He wasn't even for patriarchy.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So it's weird to see how religion has been twisted to
favor men. Yeah, that's. I mean, there's no other way to put it.
Mhm.
Religion has literally been
Mhm.
tweaked and turned to
Mhm.
favor men, and it's
Mhm.
very quick. And we always talk about how if there's a part of the Bible you want to use to support yourself, you will
You'll
find
find
a
it.
verse in the Bible.
You will
You
find
will
it.
always find something,
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
to support it. So whether it's saying that women are less than, you will find a Bible verse that will support it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But to the other point, though, there are certain parts that also supports, women and women speaking out and things like that.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
I think it's just a matter of the fact that men typically have more power right now, especially in the church.
Mhm.
That it's harder for women to point out parts of the Bible that say, okay, maybe we should focus on trying to equalize the ball game a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't see anything. I think I argue that women could be better preachers than some men, but that's an argument that I will have with myself. But I just don't think that there are enough women preachers, as much as there are men preachers, teachers, evangelists, etc. And we just need more of that. It's not every day just singing, right? Women are not the only ones that sing, right? Because men sing too, right? And that's no problem.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So I fully agree. And it's just thinking okay, understanding your identity in Christ.
Yeah.
And just knowing that whatever society says, will be fine. I'm a female. I'm a woman, and I'm equal.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody is more superior to me. You know what I mean? So
yes.
Let me take a moment to just say welcome to. So I see Nikki K's World.
Hi, Nikki K.
Hi.
Fellow YouTuber.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. I see Israel. I see Elizabeth.
Hi, Elizabeth.
I see Era War. So thank you all. Feel free. Hey. So feel free to comment your thoughts on what we're talking about. Feel free to share the link with your friends, with your family to join in the conversation as well. So we were just talking a little bit about the history of feminism, and we talked about how this is supposed to be a conversation. So feel free to interact. And also serve as some education as well to shed more light on the topic of feminism so that people can be more comfortable to identify as feminists and be proud of it, not be shy and be actually proud of it.
Yes.
So that was an interesting conversation about the whole church thing, and the language and all of that. So in terms of another historical piece was the politics of difference. The politics of difference. This one came about in the 1980s, whereby it got tricky, right?
Yeah.
Because people that were being feminist were, mostly people that were feminists were white.
White women, yeah.
White women.
Yeah.
So we got into an interesting situation whereby, they're Black women also.
Right, and brown.
Right. And my issues, I am dealing with racism, classism,
oppression from all the corners,
oppression, and I still have to fight for feminism. So there was this thing about women of color analyzed how white dominated feminism had ignored the realities of racial difference.
Yeah.
So that's the politics of difference around the 1980s, and that awareness came about to say, wow, we're dealing with a lot.
Right. So I just started reading. So my book of the month is Hood Feminism, and essentially the idea of the book. I'm still in the beginning parts, but essentially the idea of the book is the fact that, to what Remy just said, how there was so much more going on with women, Black and brown women, women that were systematically treated, there was a lot of bias in the workplace, or just in the neighborhood, or in general, right? Black women didn't even have a right to vote when white women were able to vote in this country. So, because they were still considered property at the time. So I mean, white. So I mean that. I mean, I think it all just kind of goes down to Black and brown women are dealing with more. You're dealing with a lot more. Even now in place of work, you're still trying to deal with, being treated as human, right? As equal as the men. But then also being treated as equal as, you know, the other, I guess, well-favored races. I mean,
yeah. And it's just, you know, knowing how to just maneuver that, right? And deal with that.
Right.
Emotionally.
It's mental. It's a constant trying to being a black woman in America, right? In corporate America, is tougher. I argue that it's tougher than being other women. Everywhere else. It's a mental thing. You have to constantly not being that angry black woman. You have to constantly not. You just have to try to blend, but also stand for feminism.
Correct.
Yeah,
it's almost like
hard.
It's almost like
very
it's hard. It's definitely like a mental thing whereby if I act as a black woman, if I say something or if I act, I'm going to be perceived as angry black woman. So, for example, it was somewhere in my what I wrote down about how when black women are accused of acting womanish, it's because their behavior is seen as outrageous or courageous or willful. But the other side, they want to know more. They want to be equal. Versus if it's me, I'm just an angry black woman.
Right.
And it's just, you know, the mental is real. You know, I'm just saying, you know what? No. And I think it was Maya Angelou that said that she called it womanism instead of feminism.
Yeah,
that's to highlight the black women that were feminists. So some people use the word womanism. So I just thought that was interesting, just to make it a little more unique and understand the struggles that black women were going through.
So I guess we can call ourselves womanists and not feminists.
Womanist. I mean, womanist. I know, right? So it's like, you know, and, you know, it's just, you know, so we've been talking a lot recently about how, you know, the mankind speaking, the monopoly over language is one of the means by which males have ensured their own primacy and ensured the invisibility of females. So you see chairman, fireman, policeman, you know, I don't know. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I don't agree with that at all. I am anti anything that has man or woman in front of it. I'm anti it. Like, just end it.
Chairman. You know, Nigerians love that.
Oh, they love it.
Exactly. That's what, like, chairperson, you know, the police officer, like, you know. But again, you know, subconsciously we've allowed this, you know, into our language and things like that.
I argue to say that the reason that is because it's expected that a man does it, right? So if you say a chairman and a woman comes up, it's like, whoa, I don't like that, right? So you were so quick to, okay, for chairmen, let's find men. Let's only find men. But then, I mean, chairwoman is longer, let's be honest, right? No one is sitting there saying chairwoman. So instead of just say chairperson, so that way you don't know who's coming up. You know, you don't know if it's a man or a woman. I like the mystery behind that.
Yeah, exactly.
Surprise us. Right? And even better, make it a woman.
Put a woman on there.
Surprise us, make it a woman. Yeah.
Oh my God. Like, it's just crazy. And I think so, you know, going to the history, right, when we talked about the politics of difference, right? So that kind of birthed the new wave of the third wave feminism, right?
Yes.
So that kind of, so, you know, becoming the third wave that recognized and challenged racism, classism, and sexism still prevalent in society, right? So that's around the birth of the third wave feminism and things like that. So now it's almost like, and I like this part so much because now I think we're in the fourth wave feminism, the new age, online, but fighting it online. You know, there's so many things going on online on, you know, feminism and just raising awareness. It's huge. This IWD, International Women's Day, that I was just talking about, it's huge. You know what I mean? And just like raising awareness. So you see people taking photos. So this year, it's like I said earlier on, the theme is choose to challenge. And you have to literally take a photo and raise your hand up and, you know, post it online to raise awareness of what I'm challenging as a woman, as a feminist. So it's just amazing what online is doing. It says by the fourth wave, bringing sexism online. By 2012, a fourth wave of feminism was underway. The young women driving it were living in societies where the language of feminism was already established. So by fourth wave feminism, we've heard about feminism. It's already established.
Yep.
We know, we have an idea of what we have an idea of what people were trying to do.
Right.
But it's just like, okay, but the gender equality they expected did not match their experience, and they took it to social media and blogging to say so.
Right.
So at this point, we've been hearing about feminism. What's going on? Apparently we should be treated equally, but I'm not feeling that.
It. Right. It's almost like a group is talking about it, but the world is staying the same.
Yeah. So we took it to social media and then blogging.
Right. Well, I mean, which is the new way of calling anything out, right?
Exactly.
Companies, anyone. You just call them out on social media. It blows. It becomes a thread. Everyone hops onto it, and then all of a sudden you find all these. All of a sudden they're making statements and making changes.
Correct.
Where were you before?
Exactly. Okay. So, because we're talking earlier on about like back in the day in the 18th century, people were just writing and discussing in like salons and things like that. Now it's on social media, what I mean? So doing the same things, but now on social media. Hashtag activism. Yeah. So if you don't like something, if you're a feminist, hashtag feminist. Hashtag feminism. Hashtag whatever the case may be. So hashtag activism via social media was used to spread information and raise awareness of campaigns. So there were different campaigns. If you're Nigerian, you probably heard about the Bring Back Our Girls campaign. And that one was to release girls that were kidnapped in schools, and also the Me Too campaign. Hashtag Me Too.
Yes,
that was a huge online campaign.
Yeah. So the hashtag Me Too, even though it's now become a joke, which I don't appreciate, how much people, I think now women think men believe that the Me Too movement is now an attack on men. But I think a lot of the things that men assume were normal were actually not. They were it was a form of oppression towards women. So I believe, yes, call it out. And I agree that, some of the men that have been getting away with it should not pay for it. Right. I think it's proof that you never truly really get away with anything. And I'm all for it. If you've been doing something, you've been getting away with it for so long, absolutely call it out. It's time to call it out. It's time to pay for it. The consequences need to happen, because you have to think about the victims who are now survivors, who have dealt with it their whole life.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I'm all for the Me Too movement. Absolutely.
Yes. Because if they don't say anything and they have daughters.
Yes. Their daughter's going to go through it, because you're teaching your daughter to not speak forward about something that oppresses her, something that assaults her. You're teaching them things that they're going to continue to move that trauma back. And it's generational.
Yes.
You're gonna move that trauma to your child and into their child, and they just generations of traumatic people just living around the world.
And it does something to your mental too.
It does. It messes with you.
Are you like, no, I'm gonna speak up? You know what I mean? Versus trying to stay mute and feel like society doesn't value what a woman has to say, or what she says versus what he says. They're gonna pick the man's version versus what I say. Right. Again, it goes to the mental, right? Why would I? No, I'm gonna speak up. You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think when it comes to one woman coming forward, I think there's power in numbers. So like, if there's this idea of one woman coming forward, now hiring someone is, as the stigma, right? Because when you speak forward about something that is not a norm, it becomes a stigma, and everyone either attacks the victim, right? And now the victim doesn't feel like they can speak forward about anything, so then they retrieve themselves. But if one person is speaking out and another person is speaking out, eventually you have that power, and there's that, like, there's something about that unity, that exactly about that unity that brings everybody together, that kind of like, which is what I appreciate about the Me Too movement, because it gave other people a platform to kind of speak up about certain things that have happened to them in the past that no one even knew about.
That's so like, exactly, because it was just like, okay, we're going to keep exposing these behaviors that are not okay, that have oppressed women for the longest time. So it's interesting, because when that started to happen, right? While younger feminists, we went to social media, we started to talk, we started to blog, we started to use hashtag, we started to call men out. So while younger feminists focus on exposing instances of sexism and sexual abuse on social media, some older women began to question what feminism should mean in the modern age. And, some women such as the writer Chimamanda, so if you're Nigerian and you know Chimamanda, or even not, she's international, she wrote this book that femininity is common sense, that all women and all men should be feminists.
We should all be feminists. It's a very small book. Y'all should read this book. It's very, very small. It'll probably take you a day to finish it, right? A couple of hours. But the premise basically is that it's common sense and that everyone should be able to do it.
That we should all be feminists, men or women.
Yeah.
So, it's almost like, okay, don't question what I'm trying to say. Don't question my femininity or, my feminism mindset or movement. We should all be feminists. Now, there are different aspects that we were talking about, right, of feminism, but we should all be feminists.
Right. I mean, it's like, when you think of whatever it is you do on an everyday, if you can get your mind set to the fact that someone can and should be doing this, and not because they're female and not because they're male, right? I think you're on your way to feminism. That's why. I mean, that's how I think. As far as her common sense idea is, it's just like it's so easy, anybody can do it.
Yeah. And just to share, in light of all of that, so we're gonna go into like some personal experiences soon and get to the juice of the matter. But to share some favorite quotes. The first one I have down is, if this was by Jessica Valenti, and she said, if feminism wasn't powerful, if feminism wasn't influential, people wouldn't spend so much time putting it down. It's funny because one of our guests here says, this is not a church program, so no need to be politically correct. It's the truth. Thank you. No, it's fact, because it's like, if feminism wasn't so powerful, if it wasn't influential, why are people spending so much time to dismiss it?
Right.
There's something about it, clearly.
I'm telling you, it's the fact that we still live in a patriarchal, can never say that word, patriarchal world. Because it's not favoring men. So a lot of the things that we're talking about wanting equality removes the power, right, from the more powerful gender. And I put air quotes on that because I argue that. I don't believe that they are, but that's besides the point. I think that this reminds me a lot of the fact that we still talk so much about racism and talk about why racism still exists or shouldn't exist, right? Everyone is so obsessed. We're constantly talking about the fact that racism is no longer a thing. So they keep wanting to put it away, right? Let's just hide it. Let's hide it. Let's hide under the microaggressions, right? It's the same thing with feminism. If it wasn't so powerful, if people weren't trying to understand how powerful it is, there wouldn't be just as many people trying to dismiss it.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I fully agree.
Exactly. And, Michelle Obama had mentioned, she was like, there's no limit to what we as women can accomplish. Women are so powerful.
No limit.
Women are so powerful. And I think it's a tactic of, call it whatever you want to call it, maybe enemy or men. I feel like it's a tactic because they know the power that women have.
Oh yeah.
And even in spite of, them trying to like strip women of the power that we have or remove our voices or oppress us, women are so powerful.
Yeah. Still pushing through.
Despite all of the obstacles, I mean, I might be biased, but I think, no, sincerely, look, people are going to come for me for this one because I really think, and this is not, I know, I'm not in the business of bashing men. I don't hate men.
Oh, yeah.
At all.
I love men.
Yeah, we love men. Men are essential. Like, we love them. Yeah. But I swear, women are so smart, though.
It's like, but
because some things I'm just like, wow, a woman would think about that, but like a guy would not think about that. Again, is to appreciate the differences, but not to say that one is better than the other. So, women are so powerful. Women are so intelligent, so smart, And then it says, this one is interesting, by Roxanne Gray, an American writer. She said, we don't all have to believe in the same feminism.
Yes. So, yes. I love this quote. This quote is amazing because I think that's the problem with so many men and women refusing to believe that they're feminists, right? Because they think that it has to be one thing. They think that it has to be like, oh, that's feminism? Oh, then that's not what I am. That's feminism? Oh, that's not what I am. But it's like, if you believe in the basic common definition of feminism, or you add whatever whatever you think your meanings are, that's what feminism is to you. So we don't all have to be the same feminist, but we can also at the same time still be feminist.
Yes.
Yeah, this quote resonated with me a lot. I love it.
Yeah. And another one says by Laura Bates, another quote says that if your compliments, this goes to the whole Me Too, it goes in line with the Me Too movement. Mm-hmm. If your compliments are making women feel uncomfortable, scared, anxious, annoyed, or harassed, you're probably not doing them right? So if a woman wears something to work
that she likes,
it looks nice, and she goes to work, and a guy thinks it's okay to
whistle,
make cat calls, exactly.
Make a random sarcastic comment because she walks into the room. Yeah, that's probably not okay.
That's not okay, because guess what? If a guy wears bumper shorts or like a random outfit, people are just going to be hailing him like, "Oh, you're brave, mm-hmm. or you're different." Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But if a woman wears something nice to work or whatever, it's almost like, "Oh, she's calling for attention. Yeah. Does she want someone?" I mean, it's crazy. Can I just be?
Yeah, I think that mindset I think let's cut the mindset that says when a woman leaves her house and dresses up, she's dressing up for a man.
Let's just.
Sometimes I wake up, I want to look good, and I look good. That's it. Period.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking of some guy. I'm not thinking of some uncle. I'm not. I'm just coming in. I woke up this morning. I felt like doing a little more than what I typically do with myself, right? And I did it. And it's okay for me to just want to look good for myself.
Yeah, I'm doing it for me.
Yes.
Like, I don't know why everything has to revolve around men. Like, if I dress up or I put on lipstick or I do something nice, mm-hmm. why am I going to be looked at? Oh, is she single? Is she looking for a husband?
I looked in the mirror and said, "Yes, girl, you look good." Before you left the house.
Yeah, and it has nothing to do. Right, it has nothing to do with for men or mm-hmm. whatever. Like, so the mindset, it goes to the mindset. Like, no. Could it be though that she was doing it for herself?
Yes, it's very,
for God
very
and herself.
It's like very possible.
I literally dress to please two people. God and me.
It's very possible. That's very, very possible.
Which goes back to the church.
Yes.
Hey,
Grace dressing in the church. These people will not kill me.
Oh, Father,
will not kill me.
Or like what? Grace. You know how when it comes to the church and going to what we said about the oppression of women, why is it though? So I get it that in the Bible there are certain areas like, okay, women should not wear pants to church, or a woman should not braid her hair or wear earrings or wear makeup and all of that. But I'm just like, bro, that was like a long time ago in the Bible days. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But men will pick up on that and use that as a tool to tell women what to do or what to do. Look, I've been a rebel. Like, I do not like that at all. If you tell me not to do something, I'm just like, why? But can you talk about from the Bible perspective? Like, why should I? So I get and I don't want to. I'm a Christian. I'm in no position to bash the church or make the church look bad. That's not my goal.
Yeah.
And I understand that there are structures in church, organizational structures,
right,
and behaviors and cultures.
Right.
I get that, but just looking at the underlying part of that.
So. Yeah.
Oh,
so okay. So I know I'm not trying to be politically correct, but I also just want to make sure that I'm saying this in a way that doesn't seem strange. Anyway, let me just get straight to the point. I've never really agreed with having a specific type of dressing for women. I think it still goes back to the fact that we only focus on women and what women should be doing, and how everyone is so quick to write all these rule books for what women should and should not be doing, right? And we remove the focus from holding if you need everybody. So let's say your standard in that church, right, is to have a specific dressing. It should not be targeted to a specific gender, period. Mm-hmm. Period. If you have a dress code, I mean, just like businesses and corporate, they have dress codes. Yeah. They have dress codes for women. They have dress codes for men. right? The church should always be the same way, right? If you need women to cover their heads, okay, whatever you require of men, require that as well, right? If you need women, like, because I understand that, again, churches have structures, right? A specific church that you go to, they have their own structure, and mandating it is up to you and to that organization, right? But if it's specific to a gender, then I find that problematic, right? I think it's problematic in all the ways, because what if one day I just don't believe that me covering my head or me not covering my head is keeping God from answering my prayers. I don't believe that at all. I believe God hears me just as much as he hears, the pastor, right? I believe God hears you with whatever it is. Yeah. And it always depends on what you said earlier. Religion should let's just throw it.
Religion is bad. Religion is bad.
It up and
relationship is
throw it away.
Yeah.
Right. What is your relationship with Jesus
Christ? Yeah.
What does that look like?
Yeah.
If you're the ones that are so focused on what that woman is wearing, but what you're doing is different. Yeah. I mean, come on. That person that is coming in, however she likes, because she likes the outfit, probably has a closer relationship with Jesus than you are. Right. Again, I'm not pointing anything. I'm just saying, let's focus less on physical, right, what we are wearing. Yeah. Right, and focus more on the kingdom. Yeah. And I think we have a better way to move forward.
Yes, I agree, because, and for me, like, I'm so, I get so passionate about questioning, even if people have structures, sometimes when you start to question it, they don't have a real reason why you do it.
No, it's just because they've always seen it as a norm.
They've always done it. Women have always been told to do certain things. My natural thing, I want to question that structure and just like, why are we doing this? If you cannot give me a real reason why you want me to cover my hair, or why you want me to not wear makeup, why you want me to not wear pants,
jewelry, right? Some
not to wear jewelry.
Yeah.
You gotta give me something more. So I don't know. It has to make sense. It doesn't make sense.
I think it really depends on your conviction. Right? Some people believe that they're convicted to not wear earrings.
That's
right?
A very good point.
Don't wear earrings.
Correct.
Right? Some people believe that they're convicted to cover their heads every single time.
Yeah.
But not everybody has the same conviction, right? Not everybody. Your relationship with Jesus is not the same. It's different for every single human. Otherwise, God would have made us the exact same people. But he chose not to.
We're diverse.
So why would all the rules be one size fit all? That makes no sense.
You know what I mean? The same way I'm not gonna mandate everyone to wear earrings and makeup.
Right.
It's the same way no one should mandate me not to wear earrings and makeup. Does that make sense? But again, as women, I don't know. You don't see people doing this to men, though.
No, that's what
I'm saying.
There's no rule for men. I'm saying. Every time that book comes out and you start reading about, women should do this, I wait for that person to tell me, okay, just as much as women should do this, men should also
do this.
They never mention that. We skip that part of the Bible every time.
Yeah. So it's just like, it's crazy, man. So, and then another quote I like, it says, "Let us pick up our books and pens. They're the most powerful weapons. Amen. When girls are educated, their countries become stronger and more prosperous." When girls are educated, and I say this because it goes to the fact of people thinking that women don't matter. So, for example, let's go to our Nigerian culture.
Our lovely Nigeria.
When a couple has a kid and they ask, is he a boy or a girl? Right? And they
get excited when it's a boy. I'm overly excited.
And they say it's a boy. There's a lot of excitement, right?
Heir to the throne. Oh, someone that will take the name.
Yeah. But I'm so confused. When it's a girl, though, like, how is that, like,
second citizen?
And it shows in the way we deal with things in our society, because if a couple, maybe like an older couple, have children, if they have two children, a boy and a girl, and they don't have money, they'll rather spend money on education for the boy than they'll spend on the girl, because they believe that the education in the boy will go far than if they put education in the girl.
Yeah, I think the assumption is that, the woman, all we have to do is teach her about marriage, right? Teach her about cooking and cleaning, and about marriage, and how she should be good to her husband. So why waste education on her because she will just marry anyway and
Yes.
and just be there to nurture the children.
Which is problematic because you're basically saying, let's just focus on teaching the girl how to be a wife.
Yeah.
How to cook and clean because she's going to end up marrying anyway.
Yeah.
Hopefully she can marry a rich guy.
Hopefully.
You see the mentality?
Hopefully.
Not that she'll be rich, oh.
No.
She'll marry a rich guy.
Marry rich.
Like I'm just fully like shook by the whole thing. But that's why I'm so passionate about girls' education. I'm so passionate about it. God will help me because I really want to do more in the future on just empowering girls' education, specifically because I do believe that girls should be educated. They're entitled to the same level of education as men.
Yes.
And it will go a long way.
Yes.
Because it's just, I'm just like, okay, I'm over it. And then there's this another quote by Kate Nashi. She said, feminism is not a dirty word.
Yes.
Which goes to what we're talking about it's not a curse word. It's not a dirty word. Don't be ashamed to call yourself a feminist. Be proud of it.
Yes.
Be proud of it because when you know what it stands for and what it means, you'll be more confident
on a personal level, right?
Yeah.
If you're a woman, so in my opinion, I would argue that if you're a woman, you should be a feminist, right? All of us should be. If you're a man, you help us by being feminist, right? Because you help promote what our lifestyle, what we're trying to do. But if you're a woman who may not necessarily understand it, I would say find out about it or research it, search for it on a more personal level, and you can get to that level where you can comfortably tell yourself, I'm a feminist. Yeah, I'm a feminist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And be sure of it and be confident about it.
Be confident in it.
You know?
And not care what, because I think the assumption is some people assume that if you're a feminist, then you hate men and you'll never marry and blah, 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 right? Because that's a whole other, guys, I really truly believe that if you consider yourself a feminist,
she cannot marry.
You will be single forever and no man will marry you. And
it's so redundant.
It is a lie from the pit of hell. So it's not true at all.
Yeah, it's so like redundant. Whereby any small thing a woman does,
so
they're already thinking that
feminist.
Yeah, and also they're already thinking that she married.
Yes.
Whatever a woman does, for example, if a woman is trying to do great, so it goes to our point of how people expect certain things from women. So people expect, especially in the Nigerian culture, in the African culture, people expect a woman to tame her greatness. So if she's trying to get a degree, trying to get a real job, and trying to make money, people try to tell her to maybe you shouldn't get a fancy car too much.
Yeah,
or maybe
it will intimidate men.
And maybe you should not get a nice house or something because you want to.
Or don't live alone. That's one thing I noticed. Women are like, it's almost like, don't get an apartment for yourself. Live in your parents' house until you move to your husband's house. Don't buy a fancy car, like you were just saying. Don't buy a fancy car because you're gonna be looked at as if
you want to be approachable.
Exactly, right? You want to be approachable. You want to seem lower than, right, so that it doesn't seem like you're gonna be taking over your household.
And I'm just, it gets me. I worry about that because I'm just like, why should I tame my success and how I appear because I want to make myself marriageable?
Because let's be honest, how many men are really taming their success?
None.
Right.
They overblow it.
You are successful, we will know about it. Okay?
Yes.
We will hear from the rooftop.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes. Yeah. Someone said that's not only Nigerian culture and the boy and girl thing, but the good news is that the world has woken up now and the mentality is changing.
Please, the world needs to wake up. Still sleeping.
To wake up. Okay? Because it's just like, I hear it every time. Everything a woman does, people are already sizing her up of how it's going to jeopardize her chances of getting married or married. Or if she's married, it's going to jeopardize her marriage. Right. Maybe, the guy, oh my Lord, why hello me? If you
look for someone
that is more humble. And I'm just like, why though?
I think we have to work better on the men, not us, and the women not being, taking care of the men's ego, because I think that's what it boils down to, right? It's boiling down to us continuing to care about the male ego over and over and over and bring ourselves lower and lower and lower in order to caress their ego. My argument would be that work on you. If you're feeling some type of way about a woman being more successful,
work on yourself.
Ramp up.
Ramp
okay?
it up.
Work it up. Okay. Be better.
That's
it. That is my solution for you. Be better. You're feeling less than. Be better.
Yeah, and it's just like it's not. I know for sure as a child of God, Jesus' plan for my life, Jesus did not die for me to tame my success and how far I go because I'm a woman.
Otherwise, he would only put purpose in men, right?
Exactly.
And we know that he obviously did not, right?
Exactly.
Purpose is for men and women.
Yeah.
So why am I taming my purpose for yours?
Yeah. And forgive us. Yeah, and forgive us if we're saying Nigerian or African. That's what we know, right? That's what we're exposed to. Culture. We know the Nigerian culture so well, especially when it comes to dressing thing. And women should not dress like. Sure, listen, I got grace. Oh God, help me. God will help me.
Amen.
God will help us.
Amen. Amen. We need the conviction.
We need the conviction, and I'm not for. So the thing is, I have the values.
Yes.
And I'm convicted about them.
Right.
But don't give me a one book. Okay, this is the book. Oh, this is only what a woman can do. This is what. And it's just like, no, there's no need for that. So let's, God will help us. I will try to get better. Yeah. And then someone said, RBG, rest her soul. She said, I said on the equality side of things that it is essential to a woman's equality with men that she be the decision maker and her choice be controlling. Because I don't know why we think that a man's word or choice should be more controlling than a woman. Again, it goes to the product of social conditioning we're talking about, whereby someone will take a guy seriously because he's in a suit and all that.
Yeah.
And if a woman says the exact same thing in a nice dress,
right.
She's cute.
Right. Exactly. Right. You look cute.
You look cute. I'm sorry, what I said though. You know what I mean?
Like the handshake thing. When you shake hands with a guy shake hands.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's a strong handshake. And then if a woman shakes hand, she has to be like slightly gentle. But then when you shake with the firm, they're extra surprised. And it's like, you expect the firm handshake from a man. You should also expect it from a woman.
And then, it goes to and then the next point, about, my clothes and my consent, about, what you were saying earlier about how when it comes to the issue of rape or things like that, what I'm wearing is not my consent. What I'm wearing gives you no right to harass me.
Right. I chose to leave the house looking like this, not for you.
Yeah.
So you shouldn't harass me because you didn't check or control with your desires, right?
Yeah,
because again, I will say most of the reason why women are so easily to blame for something that a man does is because we're in a so-called man's world, right? Where men have to blame. There's always someone to blame for something, right? And who's easier to blame than women, right?
Correct.
Because we're already oppressed, so it's just easier to just say, "Oh, what was she wearing? What was she doing? What was she doing? What was the man doing? Why did he even do it in the first place?"
Correct. And a woman already oppressed enough. Let's not put more blame.
No, like let's
women.
Stop it.
Yeah. It goes to the idea of a guy can always go away with something.
You can easily get away with now. Thank God for the Me Too movement, right?
Yes.
It's becoming, some men are actually now checking themselves. I know some people are still not believing, some men believe that the Me Too movement is like, like power, like against men or whatever. But obviously that's not the point. That's just calling out things that weren't normalized for so long.
Yeah.
That should not be normalized. It's not a normal thing. It shouldn't be a normal thing.
Yeah.
And more women are calling it out because they have this power and unity, like I mentioned. So if something is happening, check what the man was doing.
Yeah.
What was he doing too?
Yeah. And it's fascinating, and I'm so glad that feminism is becoming more and more of a brand now.
Yes.
And I'm so excited about that. And it talks about I have here my notes where women have been talking about it more.
Yes.
Women in corporate America, like the CEO of Facebook, Sheryl Sandberg. She said that, and she was advising women on how to be successful in the business world. She got some backlash as well because she got some critics that said, well, she was kind of putting the onus on women, the work on women to do and prove themselves, to do more, forward. Right? But I think I see the idea where she was coming from. That no, right. There are ways to grow in corporate America, and be and also Fearless Girl is a sculpture.
Yes, in New York, right?
In New York, so that's us, pushing the fact that women are relevant.
Yes.
We are taking up corporate leadership positions, and we are capable.
Yes. Take a second. If you don't know the Fearless Girl sculpture, look it up. Just Google it. It's on
Fearless
Google.
Girl. Yeah. And also I like the fact that we are talking about career feminism.
Yes.
I definitely identify as career feminism. Seeking women's empowerment through economic advancement. When women grow in their career,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
you gain footing.
Yes.
And, you know, and you're able to develop yourself,
Mhm.
you know, empower yourself, empower others. So it's really big. Let's pause to see a couple comments.
Oh, yeah.
Let's pause to see a couple comments. This is true because dress codes for churches typically seen is for women. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then, okay, we already read the next one. And if a man is not comfortable with you being a feminist, I want to pray for another man. It's true. It's true.
And if they're not okay with it, let's say I already married them and they're not okay with it, they'll be okay with it. They'll be okay with it.
Amen.
I don't give up.
Amen. A man that feels threatened by a woman's success should check himself. We are supposed to reach it out. Amen. And I think sometimes, I don't know, you said something and you're right about the ego thing.
Yeah.
Even if a man wants to support.
Yeah, because there are some men, I've heard men out loud say, oh, I would never allow my wife or partner to make more money than me.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. Because,
okay.
Yeah.
That's an outlandish statement, by the way. Like, it shouldn't matter. Okay.
Yeah.
If I decide to go and make all this money, you're gonna be telling me just to make more money than me, or just be chasing if you didn't have the ambition to do. What if you had an ambition to do something else?
Yeah.
But because you're obsessed with making more money than me, you're gonna only come on.
Yeah. And it's just
what
like,
are you really doing?
Yeah, and that will help because some men, right?
Some
men will think they're fine with their wives making more money
until
their wife makes more money, and they're like, any small thing, is it because you're making more money? Who is the man of this house?
Lots of movies that we have seen that said that. I'm telling you.
You know, who is the man of this house? Is it because you started making more now? I'm still the head.
Also, money doesn't make you a man.
Exactly.
Like
it's almost like it's almost like you know, you start to get all the side comments that because a woman is successful, is it because she's successful?
Yeah.
She feels like she's better than a man.
I think it boils down to us needing to understand, to work on the insecurities that both men and women have, right? You have an insecurity. Don't project it on a woman. Just don't. Work on your own insecurity. Work on your own self.
Yeah.
Right? Everyone work on each other, and we'll all just be great. This beautiful cycle going of just everybody working on themselves. Okay.
Yeah.
It's just an insecurity. It's an insecurity, and I'm not responsible for your insecurities. Right?
Mm-hmm,
you need to be aware of them and work on them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because your insecurity of a woman being or appearing to be better than you, right? Success wise, right? Career wise. So now I need to what do I do? Bring myself lower? Quit my job? It's confusing.
Yeah.
It's confusing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So just like, that's just like, and then somebody said, that dress code thing is what we can have a big conversation on face to face. No, for real. Look, I'm ready. All right. The question is, are you ready? Because
yes, let's have it.
And again, there's a whole thing. It's big. It's big. Yeah. But trust me, there's a whole root to it in terms of how it has to do with women.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I have something interesting here. Someone said, the money is not what makes you a man. A man said that he would not allow his wife to make more money than him needs marriage counseling.
Amen.
It's true. Amen to that.
Yeah.
Amen to that, because that's a big problem. Voila, like because you know, just realize that the family is not improving.
Right, because
somebody is too proud to like
pride.
Pride. Yeah. So God will help. So I have something. We have something interesting here that says, what makes a feminist? Right? What makes you a feminist? Right? If you believe gender is socially conditioned, you're a feminist.
Yes. Believe it or not.
If you believe that this is social conditioning, you know, and you start to question things, you are a feminist.
You're a feminist.
You know, if you recognize patriarchy, when you see patriarchy like this looking at you, I am able to point it out. Look, I can smell it from a mile away. When I see patriarchy or when I hear it, I can smell it from, I know that, okay, this is wrong. And this sounds weird.
Yeah, something is off.
Something is off. Yeah. When you challenge misogyny.
Yes.
When you challenge it, not just keep quiet and, you know, and be mute and be scared. And when you challenge it, you are a feminist. Yeah. And when you're seeking gender equality, you are a feminist. So, which goes to one of the points that we were trying to make earlier on as is there such a thing as bad feminism? Because we don't want people to be thinking that it's about hating men. Like we're talking about.
Right. It's not. It's not about hating men.
It's not about hating men.
It's simply just wanting, if whatever you want, you require of men, require of women. Don't make them different solely based on gender, right? It's all about, like, if, let's say I have a child in the future, right? And my child say, oh, mom, I want to be a mechanic, right? I didn't grow up seeing women mechanics. I'm not going to lie, right? But I'm like, okay, that's your passion. That's what you want to do. I'm not going to push them towards, like, it's like the whole idea of pushing women towards dolls and pushing men towards like G.I. Joe statues or fire trucks. No, just no. Okay.
Yeah.
If your daughter wants to play with a fire truck, she's playing with a fire truck. If she wants to play with a G.I. Joe doll, she's playing with a G.I. Joe doll.
Yeah.
Socially conditioning your daughters and your sons to a specific thing is what we're trying to fight as feminists.
Yes. So it's not about some negative things or trying to hate men or trying to think that we're better. No, equality.
The same.
We're not better.
The same things. It's not difficult. We just want the same thing.
Yeah. No, I definitely like what you said, Grace, about the insecurity. It makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Somebody mentioned about the insecurity. It's a big word. Yes. That's huge, and it's true. So it goes with just working on yourself, trying to be better.
Yeah.
And not try to project that insecurity.
Yeah, don't project. Like, work on you, okay, fam. Work on you. Okay, this is more about you than it's about me.
Yeah. God will help us. So we talked a little bit before about the book. Thank you for sharing.
Oh, no,
Grace bought the book.
Yes.
We should all be feminists.
Yes.
We should, all of us, go get the book. Read it if you have not read it. And it talks about common sense. How it's actually common sense. That book really echoes my thoughts.
Exactly. It's like my mind. She just put it on paper.
Yeah.
Every line shows. I actually, when I first read it, I read it as an audiobook, and I was in the back. Like, it shows everything. I was like,
You're like, was resonating.
Seriously. Just
oh my God. So and then we also talked a little bit about part of the patriarchal system is thinking men are the human standard.
Yeah.
The standard humans. No.
Yeah.
Men are not the standard humans. And
men are humans.
Men are they are humans and women are humans. So they're not the standard, and we shouldn't be measured against men.
Right. Exactly.
Or things like that. So, and then reflecting misogyny. It says the cumulative effect of the responses was to validate women's sense of grievance. So, for example, if going to the Me Too movement and things like that, people have often said that women lacked a sense of humor. Like when you compliment a woman, she takes it too personal. She doesn't know how to take a compliment, or we're taking things too seriously. And it can kind of show that sexism is harmless. It is harmful. Sexism is harmful, right? Because it goes to the point of where if a man is harassing a lady, and all we have to say, or all society has to say is, she can't take a compliment. She was taking things too seriously. No. It's harmful, and we should recognize it, right? Versus giving the guy a pass. Come on, he was only giving a harmless compliment. If she's feeling uncomfortable,
she was uncomfortable.
She was uncomfortable.
Period. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and it talks about how like sexism was, people see it as harmless and normalization. No, let's not normalize sexual harassment.
Right.
There's nothing okay about it.
I think when you see somebody in a skirt, right, and it's a woman and she's curvier, right, then maybe see. And you notice it, right? Because it came to your attention. Making a comment that makes her uncomfortable and then saying, "Oh, she can't take a joke," isn't appropriate. Period. Right? Because she chose to wear that outfit. She liked her outfit. She looked good. Whatever comment you made that made her feel uncomfortable, if she mentions it, apologize immediately. Right? This is what, if you're a guy, this is what you can do. Just apologize. I apologize if that made you uncomfortable. I'm sorry that made you uncomfortable. Turning it around, that whole like, oh, you give a girl a compliment and then she doesn't like the compliment and then you now in turn curse her out. That was like a culture that people used to have. That used to happen to me so much in my teenage years. So I'll be walking down the street, gingerly minding my own business. And someone would say, "Oh, hey, ma," or whatever. Living in Brockton, I walk faster because, well, I don't want to talk to you. I don't know you. And now immediately you're cursing me out because I don't want to talk to you. That's your insecurity for the last time. Work on you. You are rejected. Move on. Life moves on. Okay?
God help us, and so just reflecting and challenging misogyny is huge.
Yeah.
Call it out.
Same question. There's a question.
Question. What's wrong with raising men and women differently? Do we think manhood and womanhood are more about nature or more about nurture? That's a great question. I think, so I've always been of the mindset that you raise men and women the same.
Mm-hmm.
That's just been my own view, because I think that the effect of not doing that is really impacting society.
Yes.
Because, society, so society is huge, right? It's this big place,
Mm-hmm.
but it really starts and stems out from family.
Mm-hmm.
How you see yourselves in a family will project when you go into the workplace, will project when you go into the world, right? So, it has a lot of impact if women and men are treated unequally in a home,
Mm-hmm.
girls and boys, because when they grow up and they go out, and if they don't learn to know better,
right,
they will think the same thing too.
Right.
So, for example, if a man is in a home whereby the woman is doing all the work, he's
cooking,
not helping,
cleaning, and the man is in the kitchen. In the living room,
watching TV,
watching this, not helping out. Right, their kids running around the house, but you're just sitting in the living room not doing anything. Right, the kids are running around the house. The woman is the one in the kitchen. She's cooking. But then she's also the one that has to make sure that, the children are also fine.
Yes.
And that's the idea.
Right? And the children are seeing that.
You raise sons and daughters. Then your daughters are required to be in the kitchen with the mother. The men are outside playing whatever it is that they're playing sports, only required to provide. Read your book and provide, right? Women are required to
be
cook,
domestic,
clean, domestic, all of that stuff. You're going to raise your children to be like that. You're just going to continue to do that, and eventually you're gonna become a nuisance. I'm sorry.
To the society.
You're just gonna become a nuisance to society.
No, it's true, because I've always been the sense of raise your children up the same way. If you want to teach your daughter how to cook stew, bring the boy into the kitchen as well.
Everybody needs that lesson.
Because it's a life lesson. It's a life skill.
Yes.
Right? Bring your boy into the kitchen as well. Now, obviously, there are some obvious things whereby biology, when a boy is growing up, you teach him things on biology and something pertaining to his gender and all of that. The woman too, her body, parts of it. That's just normal.
I mean, those are different. So unequal does not mean different, right? It can be, you can raise your children differently, but not unequally. Like, not, you need to treat them and train them equally, right? It can be however different, right? If you need to be, extra caring to your son, let's say your son ends up being more on the emotional side, you need to treat them on an emotional side, right? How you're raising them, with God's help, you're raising them on an emotional side. If a woman just needs to be, your daughter needs, if she's direct, raise her in a more direct manner, right? Those are different, but they're still equal. You're still treating everyone, all your children, the same. Yeah, I guess that's kind of what you were.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, because I think that, and I think the same person, so it says, what makes a man a man, what makes a woman a woman? So that's the thing. In society, right, we're always, from the woman's perspective, right, we are always trying to bring a code of what a woman is. Dude, I don't know. I want to be.
Right.
I want to be, right? Versus somebody telling me that a woman should not do this. She shouldn't speak too loudly because only men should speak too loud.
Right.
What if naturally I speak loudly?
Right. What makes a man is God's creature. What makes a woman? She's God's creature.
Exactly.
That's my definition of that.
And God's expectation.
I think the fact that we need a specific definition for that, besides like the biology definition, is social conditioning. I would say that's
it is social conditioning. It is social, because obviously some things are biology. A woman is not going to give birth. A man is not going to be pregnant for 9 months and give birth. I get that, but like when it comes to you telling me, why did the whole thing about tomboy come up?
Yes,
tomboys, like who? Because I like to wear maybe bigger clothes or things.
That's what's coming.
That's what I would like. That's what I like. Because I like to cut my hair short. Now I know that short hair is like kind of raining now.
Oh my God, that was the whole thing. Like, women cutting their hair. There were a lot of like men out there who were saying, "Oh, don't cut your hair if you're a woman. It looks like you're sick. It looks like
Apparently, when a woman cuts her hair, she's ready for change or something happened in her life. Dude, I cut my hair because it's convenient. All right, like I mean, Sometimes just make a decision. And, it goes to, the point of, again, social conditioning. Why are we trying so hard to say, okay, a woman should be this, a woman should not be this?
Right.
It's the woman that should not be this that even annoys me the most. The woman should not be something. That's the one that even gets me the most, So really quickly, we're going to get to some more questions soon. But so we talked about how it's a global concern, not just in America or third world countries, all over the world. Fun fact, in the US, while more women than men gained doctoral degrees in 2016, African American and Hispanic women perform less well than the white girls educationally, though the gap is narrowing. So this goes to the whole education of women, education of African American women, education of less privileged, quote unquote, because it goes a long way and it just helps society if we educate ourselves and things like that. So it goes to your point, Grace, about no female doctor, no female leaders, just leaders, just doctors and things like that. And also just to be a little, because the idea of feminism, right? Like when you expose a problem, you are a problem.
Yeah. It's like, almost like when you bring up I'm one of, if you've ever had any conversation with me, you probably see me point out some misogyny at one point or another, right? And it's almost become about, here we go again with this conversation. But it's like, if we don't address it, it just continues to look like a norm.
Yeah.
And it's not a norm. So the more you address it,
the more,
Yeah.
And it goes to the whole idea, talking about, the inequality, equal pay.
Yes.
When women work, this is real facts, people. Equal pay. The term gender pay gap refers to the difference between what men and women earn, implying the extent to which women earn less than men.
Right.
The gap has narrowed a bit, but it's still there.
And I think one of what I'm realizing and from some small research that I've done is that because as women we've been conditioned to bring ourselves lower than men, we don't negotiate more. We don't ask for raises as often. Like a guy could be doing a mediocre job, right? And he'll think he's doing phenomenal and go ask for a raise. We can be doing the best thing and that's like it's such a norm. So I think you want to argue, want to push for more women pushing and negotiating for raises, and I think that's part of how we will get to the narrowing of the wage gap. Because just negotiate more, push for more. Yeah. Don't say yes right away when you get an offer. Because again, men they're doing all of those things. They're constantly negotiating for their pay. They're constantly asking for raises. They're constantly doing all these things that we'd be sitting back and not doing. That's a great point. And I saw something on LinkedIn yesterday about that too, about some lady gave an offer to another person and she wouldn't negotiate. She wouldn't negotiate. And also I even remember reading something some time back that says that when a man is 60% qualified for a job, he will apply. Yes. When a woman is 90% qualified, she will not apply. She'll be like, there's that 1% that he might not give me. But the guy will have applied at 60%. That's true. And I can't lie, I'm kind of the same way. And I have to and it's all part of a whole unlearning, right? Yeah. If I read the job description and I'm like, okay, I qualify for at least 70 or 80%, even 90% of that. But that one thing, so I won't move on to the next. I'll move on to the next. Yeah. It's like, just trying to learn certain things and, myself too. Like if I see a job description, I'm like, okay, there's this 2 things they're asking if I don't have it. But they have the rest. Exactly. You know what I mean? So it's just getting to that comfort level and things like that. Also, just talking about the idea of women. When a woman is being abused, when she's being oppressed, she, just changing terminology, because we're about language here, right? She should be called a survivor. And not a victim. She's not a victim. We're trying to move past the victim mentality. She is a survivor. Because I think it shifts the stigma. Away from that.
Correct.
And it normalizes it to her for her to be able to speak up about it and talk about it and talk to other survivors about it. If she's a victim, if she's seen herself as a victim and society sees her as a victim, then who wants to be a victim? Nobody wants to be a victim. No one wants to be a victim, exactly. So then you talk about it less, and then it sits with you, for so long, and you, again, just like trauma, you move it on to your children, their children, and things like that. So I like that, changing the term.
From survivor, victim to survivor. And also, we talked. There was something that came up that I was reading on not so long ago about driving while female.
Mm.
So an activist, this is, if you've not heard before, it was only in 2018 that Saudi Arabia women were allowed to drive.
Yeah, it's wild.
Like,
That's wild.
so an activist for women's rights in Saudi Arabia led the campaign for women to drive using YouTube in 2011 to post videos of her driving a car. She was arrested and imprisoned for 3 months in Saudi Arabia. A woman, was driving a car. She was driving a car, and that was illegal.
Mm-hmm.
And she was arrested and imprisoned for 3 months.
Wow.
Yeah. So in 2018, the ban was lifted, so women could drive, right? And doubts remain as to whether any woman will still be charged for immoral behavior crimes. So they were still not sure, even though it was lifted in 2018. Women were still scared, like, okay, should I have a man with me? And that would be better.
Yeah.
Again, to see how women are still looked at as less. In 2018, guys, women were not allowed to drive in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, the fascinating thing about and again, I don't know much about Saudi Arabia law, so I'm not going to say much about it. But what I have a lot of Saudi Arabia clients at my role, and they on their licenses, if they're married, they have to have their husband's name. It is required for their husband's name to be on their license.
Wow.
Which was so fascinating to me, because I'm like, you see the guy's license, it's not like you see his wife's name on the license, but the women, it's like a requirement.
Wow.
But that's, again, we still have work, which is why I say it may look like one place is getting better on feminism.
Yeah.
But we have to think of the whole world, right?
Correct.
As a whole. I mean, we're still in a patriarchal world.
Yeah.
And if one country is doing well, or 5 countries are doing well, there's still like hundreds of other countries that still have to work on their patriarchy and seeing women as equal.
Yeah. So let me read something fascinating about the Me Too. So we talked about the Me Too movement a little bit, then we get to some comments and questions on the thing, right? So let me read something. It says, in 2018, Hollywood's Time's Up campaign launches a $13 million legal fund for women taking action against sexual abuse. At that time, certain events led up to that point, right? The term Me Too is not new. It was first used in 2006 by some lady called Tarana Burke. And she, started to promote solidarity for survivors of sexual abuse. So that's when the first term of Me Too happened in 2006. But it didn't come online until 2017. So some actor she put a tweet on Twitter calling on women who have been sexually harassed or assaulted to write Me Too as a reply. And then that was the first Me Too online at that time. Right. So thousands of Me Too responses followed within a matter of hours. So a global response. In October 2017, less than a month, the Me Too hashtag had been shared in Twitter in 85 countries via 1.7 million tweets. It was huge.
That's amazing.
It was huge. And women felt comfortable, coming out
there's
to
power
speak.
in numbers.
Women felt comfortable. So it was just, and even women, wanted to be called survivors at that time instead of just victims, and they felt empowered. That's the word. Right. Women empowerment. I'm all about women empowerment. They felt empowered. Right. And not shameful.
Exactly.
So I think that's really, really huge. So let's see certain comments. So let's go up a little bit. Okay, so it says, so what do we say about trans folks? That's another part of feminism, the LGBTQ.
Yes.
There's a section of people pushing for that as well from a feminist standpoint. And remember what we said earlier on about we don't all have to believe in the same feminism.
Exactly. That was gonna be my conclusion with that. It's personal, it's a personal journey, and it's a personal way of living. So I don't know much about that, so I'm not going to say much about it because I don't know much about it. Yeah. And for me, I have my beliefs. I'm a Christian, and I do know that there's a movement on that. Right. There's a huge movement on that, and there's an aspect of feminism that has to do with that as well. But it's not something I subscribe to. Part of my faith, part of my beliefs, and also I'm not too involved in that, so I can't even give definite information,
answer or things like that. But even to that point of feminism, there's also a whole lot of feminism topics on reproductive rights and things like that, and the autonomy of a woman's body. My body is my responsibility and my property, and I can do whatever I want. So there's a whole discussion on that. This topic, this video cannot cover everything that has to do with feminism.
No, it's very broad. And and then you just pick the part that I guess
that works
relate more.
Yeah. So I think it's huge. It's huge. And whatever they want to be called, be called a her, sounds good. You know what I mean? On LinkedIn now, people are saying her has,
she, her,
she had. So whatever you want to do, it's up to you and your convictions and beliefs. But there are certain feminism aspects that I would just not bother with, to be honest.
Right.
You know. And then also, it's okay if she doesn't want to be called a survivor either, because some people don't like them. Exactly.
So again,
whatever works
back
for
to
you.
Whatever works for you. Right?
Whatever works for you, right?
If you don't like, I prefer survivor.
I do.
If it's not, it's preference.
Correct.
Really is preference.
Correct. Yeah. It definitely makes me feel empowered if I hear the word survivor. Victim.
Yeah, because it's something that was supposed to break you and it didn't.
Correct.
Or it did temporarily. Or it did for a long time, and now you're in the other end of it.
Yeah, because technically, how I think is, if I'm a victim, is the other person a victor? Like it's almost like, so what is the other person? Is the person like a victim and I'm the victim? Oh, hell no, so things like that. But it's just, but I think it's a preference thing. It's a preference thing, right? Yeah. So let's go to, let me just quickly check some things.
Okay.
Drink water.
Oh, thank you.
I have to remind us to drink water, because we should not drink water. So let's see really quickly to make sure that we covered some things. We're going to go into some personal experiences if we want to share and things like that, but I just wanted to quickly. So we've talked about what is feminism, how it came about. We looked at some history. We talked about what is bad feminism. We talked about feminism and Christianity.
Yes. Briefly.
We talked about feminism and being Black. Yes. But what about feminism in the African setting? Feminism, I think we talked about that too. How they'll automatically think that we're not marriage qualified, or we're trying to defy culture. Can we talk about that culture thing for a little bit though? Because is oppression of women supposed to be culture?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's supposed to be.
Wow.
But again, remember, it's a patriarchy, right? So if any culture was created by whoever was alive that time, right? You created a tradition, and now it became the norm, and you do it all the time, right? And now for the people in that area, it is now a thing that they live by, right? And if the thing that they lived by at the time was created by men who were the leaders, who were right? It's easy to say, okay, this is our culture. This is our culture, because the whole people that started the whole culture in the first place were probably men. So I guess that's kind of how I'm looking at it. Yeah. So it's just as difficult, right? It's just like wanting to change anything. A lot of people don't like change. Yeah. So if you're trying to change something, and there will be these group of people who will constantly be fighting against it. Yeah. And that's kind of how I see. For me, I pick and choose the culture that's. Yeah. I always tell people I'm kingdom culture. I pick culture of God. Kingdom culture. Sometimes we fall back on that culture thing a lot, right? Yeah. It's a lot. It's oppression. It's clear oppression. It's clear sexism. Yeah. And say, it's culture. It's culture. It's like no. And the Yoruba term I hate the most. Bruh. You know what? I think I've said that at one time in my life. I'm not gonna lie. I have for those who know Yoruba, I have to be honest. For those who know Yoruba, I said "Shumokwopo Obirinie" is one of my. I hate that phrase, and it just means that you're a woman. And a lot of times when it comes out, it's coming out from, you shouldn't be doing certain things, or you're less, or whatever. Yeah, I don't like that. So that's it. Somebody had a question. Do you know that this COVID-19 revealed that women are more in the workforce than men? But before the COVID-19, the conversation was about women underemployed. How can you explain the disparity? There was something about women of color. I know there was women of color that were affected more than men during this whole COVID-19. Right. I'm not too sure about the underemployment. I'm definitely sure about the pay gap. But let's think about the essential workers, right? A lot of the essential workers, there's a lot of women, because some of the roles were, nurses, doctors, whatever the essential workers roles were, right? I don't know. I would have to see this data that you're referring to.
The essential workers roles were like more women,
right? But I think what I'm which kind of puts them more at risk. I mean, in the first place. But I think I also saw another data that mentioned that a lot of women ended up staying home, right, from their careers, right, because it's by default the women would be the one to stay home from their careers so that they can be home for the kids because of all of the school closing down and all of that stuff, right? Now I don't know what the data says now. So
correct.
I have to take a look.
And
at
sincerely
it.
speaking,
that's interesting.
And sincerely speaking, I'm not even surprised when so it says before COVID-19 conversation was about women underemployment. I'm not surprised, because I think a lot of times when a woman takes time off of work for maternity leave, that thing does not favor women. It favors. I mean, now they've started to do paternity leave and things like that. Yes. But for the longest time, if a woman starts her family,
and she starts companies that offer both
paternity and maternity. So when a woman gets pregnant and she's off work for 3 months, you know what it takes to get back?
It takes a while. It takes a while.
It's
funny enough because, and I think it's sad, because even some of the ones that I work, there's one of my friends who she just had a baby and she's already worried about work. She's only 6 weeks in, right? She still has another 6 weeks and she's already worried about going back to work, how much workload, because she can't fully tune out. I can guarantee if a guy takes 4 months off, he will be off. Again, I don't want to guarantee for everybody, but it's the worry, the constant worry, right? That you have to like worry about work. While you're away from work for that long.
Because it's almost like to get back, the work to get back.
That's a lot.
And it's a lot. And even and again, a woman doesn't just have a baby and then the next day she's back at work.
That's a lot.
The baby
you
have to heal. Yeah. The baby has to grow to a certain point where you're comfortable leaving the baby and going to work and things like that. So there's mental stuff.
You need at least 6 weeks, right, for the healing process.
Correct.
And then what about the companies that only give like 3 months? That after 6 weeks, you only have 1 more week to go back to work.
And it's like, so women are placed in a position whereby some of the rules in the workplace does not favor women. And also, so obviously that's going to affect, employment versus a guy. Just walk. Just keep walking. Just without taking breaks and things like that. Which
also affects the whole moving, like women growing, right? Because by the time the woman is she's out of work, she has to come back and try to rank up again. Right? And mind you, the person that was probably at the same level as her is probably done promoted or
oh my god! And now she had like 2-3 kids.
Yep, exactly.
Like by the time you're done, it's like
God forbid you want a big family.
What would that happen? But the guy's gonna keep moving up. Whereby, oh man, it's tough. It's tough. So we just need things that will favor women and everyone and favor women in the workplace and make sure that things are set in place to help us to grow. It's not our fault that it's in our bodies that babies are being carried, but we're not seeing the treatment to favor us in the workplace.
It's almost like it's working against us. And the people that are getting promoted, they have wives, right?
They have wives, they have families. So God will help, Sha. So we talked about how you talked about feminism in the African setting, how it's falsely perceived. So feminism can be falsely perceived by so many people, and please don't let that change your perspective on what true feminism is, and be comfortable to identify as a feminist. I actually like that. So Elizabeth said, I prefer wounded warrior. I actually like that's news to me. But that actually, I stayed on the wounded word for a little bit, but I think I said the point, and it's actually nice,
Hey, so again, whatever works for
whatever works for you, exactly. Yeah. So let's see. So Grace had talked about growing up, some personal experiences and how that shit. Because I guess what caused you to start
questioning things. So I think my background is what caused me to question things, and I think I questioned them more as an adult than I did when I was younger. Because when you're younger, you're questioning things in a Nigerian home or African home is different, right? You have an attitude, you're talking back. It's not a thing, right? You don't talk back. You don't talk to adults unless adults are speaking to you. Well, maybe not necessarily in that way, but you just don't talk back. You don't push back as much as I was pushing back growing up. Let's just say that. And one memory that sticks out to me was on my 18th birthday. I had like a 6 p.m. curfew. And I remember my younger brother's 18th birthday. He wasn't home till like much later. And that was okay, right? That was like a norm because he's a guy. Don't worry about you only start worrying about the boys or the men at a much later time of the night. But as soon as it gets dark for a woman, she has to be home. I remember I was in the kitchen a lot, which I hated cooking growing up. I love cooking now. It's one of my favorite things, but I hated it growing up because it was pretty much my only requirement. And I was the only one, because I was the only girl in the house that was required to be in the kitchen. I think my brothers were in the kitchen every now and again, but like it wasn't required. Like if they weren't in the kitchen, it was fine. Mm-hmm. But if I didn't feel like cooking, it wasn't even heard of. Mm-hmm. So you're in the kitchen, you got cooking, period. Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah. And then the whole like, as soon as it's dark out, you have to be home. You can't. There's just so many little things that I noticed that as an adult now, I'm like, wow, yeah, that was really because I was a woman. That was really because I was a female. Yeah. So I've almost have to like push myself to allow myself to think outside of those things, right? This is not just males. This is not just females. If you have a boy and a girl, so I have to like learn within myself, because again, what you grow up with, you're not pushing or fighting against those things that you didn't necessarily agree with as an adult. You're going to repeat the same things with your offspring. Period. Mm-hmm. However you think, whether you think you will do it or not, if you're not intentional about it, you will repeat the same cycle. Period. Yeah. That's just how it is. Yeah. So I have to like learn it and practice it within myself now to make sure that when I have kids, you know what to do. Where if I have a boy and a girl, it's the same. It's the same thing.
Yeah. And I guess, and I'm glad that Grace mentioned our own experience, because I'm sure a lot of people have that experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A lot of people have that experience. For me, personally, how I got into the whole just heightened awareness right. of feminism and the fact that women should be treated the same is, growing up in Nigeria. I grew up in Nigeria. So personally, in the way I was raised, it wasn't that. I didn't see, it was just what I saw around me, mm-hmm. right? How I saw how women were being treated. I'm just like,
that's not normal.
That's not normal, because I don't, like what I mean? That's not normal. Like, it's like, it's not part of what I experience at home, mm-hmm. but I grew up in Nigeria and I know what Nigerian society is like, right. And then I grew much older and I started to see stuff in the church and I'm just like, hold up, so it really, really raised a lot of awareness in me and just heightened, like I can pick up on these things like really quickly. Right. No matter how people try to dress it up right. and make it look like it's noble, mm-hmm. I can pick up on it really quick. So that's how I just started to pick up on that, So that's just my personal experience. And then I just started to grow more and more. And especially like when I went to law school, like just reading more about mm-hmm. women's rights and understanding more. It's just like, I was like, we've been going through a lot
for a minute.
A
really long time. Yeah.
So that's how I got into it. And, even, till date, some things I see in the church, I absolutely do not like.
Yeah.
And it just, there's something in me that I want to raise more awareness that women should be treated equally, mm-hmm. no matter what. Right. No matter what, just do away with just all this archaic beliefs and mm-hmm. let's try to move forward. So that's kind of how it started for me.
Yeah.
So let's see. So we talked about our personal experiences. Mm-hmm. We talked about the month of March, Women's Month. Again, it's every month, but mm-hmm. we're trying to raise awareness this month. Mm-hmm. Double standards. We talked about that.
Yeah, double standards.
Yeah. We talked about, marriage perspective, mm-hmm. how like everything's about marriage.
Yeah, everything.
Woman's goal is to be married. If she's not married, can you imagine?
What are we doing for the men though? How are we helping them? Because if y'all helping us to be married, how are we helping the men to be married? Because it's tiring. It's tiring. Okay.
It's almost like every the benefit is more for the woman. That you know what I mean? Like it's almost like it's good for me that somebody married me.
Because you were chosen.
And the flower. And if they don't marry me early, my flower will
burst. It will burn. It will now start giving in. Or it will not grow enough. It will not blossom.
But Jesus died for me though.
He did.
I mean,
he definitely
again, let's put things in perspective. Let's put, what I mean? I'm just I'm just like, okay, so like, so the marriage perspective of how like, and also like, marrying early versus if a guy marries later, it's fine.
Yeah. Like if a guy marries at 40,
he's fine.
Yeah.
But if a woman was, God forbid,
marry at 40K.
So it's just like crazy, the marriage perspective and things like that. And then also if a woman is educated,
yes,
if she's very successful, apparently if she's not married,
it's because of the education.
And it's not enough.
That was what kept her from getting married.
Correct.
Early enough.
And all her qualifications is not enough it's not good enough until she's married.
Yeah.
Again, tied to a man.
Exactly. So it's like, oh, it doesn't, I didn't go to school for 8 years. I didn't do all of this. I'm not successful in my career. Oh, but I'm married. I made it. I've made it.
I've arrived. And I'm just like, what? So we talked about expectations of women, oppression and things like that. Okay. Let's see a question.
There's a question on there that I want to answer. How do we hold women accountable in feminism? I say we don't. We don't hold women accountable in feminism. I think just like racism, we're not holding Black people accountable for racism, right? Because they're not the one that started the whole inequality in the first place. So I think I think it's based on, because let's think about it. Women are typically, there are certain things that you are raised to do when it comes to anti-feminism. Like there's some things that some women do that are like promoting misogyny. Let's just be honest. And there are some women who are so anti-feminist that they're like propagating the whole like being against feminism. Those people are still dealing with probably some of the traumas that they're dealing with. They're probably still oppressed, don't even realize. So I don't believe we should be holding women accountable for feminism. I think we need to focus on the misogyny, right? So I think we need more allies from men, right? We need more men to be feminists. I don't think we need more women to be feminists. That's just my personal opinion, right? And Rami will probably give her opinion with that, but my personal opinion is the focus is not really women, right? The focus is getting more men to see that there should be more equality with women and men.
Yes. That's a good point. That's a good point. And also I think that for me personally, I think it's good that women are speaking up now and the awareness has been raised. But I'm not gonna lie, it hurts me.
Oh yeah.
When I see a woman
being against,
and also again, if you're not for something, if you're not against something, you're for it.
Yeah.
So women that don't speak up.
But what about the Black people who don't believe racism exists?
That's a good point.
That's kind of how I see it.
That's a good point.
I think women and Black people have been traumatized so to a point where they just don't want to deal with it, right? They would just rather leave everything the way it is, right? Because let's be honest, it's a lot of struggle, like pushing for feminism, calling out misogyny. It's stressful on everybody because you have to talk about it constantly. You have to discuss it. You have to address the problem. People don't want to deal with that. So some women would just rather
be quiet.
Just do like life is working. I'm fine. Let me just stay the way everything is. I don't want to push anything, right? And that's kind of how I'm looking at that.
That's a great perspective because I never saw it as that. I was always like, okay, why are you not speaking? Or you should speak, or educate yourself. But that's a good point because when you're tired, like you've been dealing with it. I'm just trying to survive.
Dealing with it, exactly.
I'm just trying to survive.
You're in survival mode.
Yeah.
So it's just easier. It's easier.
Yeah. Okay, I can respect that. But like if you know what to say and how to speak up, say it.
Yeah, for sure.
And men, guys, do the work.
I think we need more men feminists. For sure.
Yeah. Because men that are not saying anything are the worst.
They're the worst. Yes.
Because you are already saying.
Sorry, this may sound like we're bashing men right now.
We're not bashing men.
But y'all are the worst when you see things that you
don't say. Yeah, because I'm just like you are in the position to even say, use your position or whatever.
Yeah.
Say something. But if you're not saying, I'm just like, what do you really stand for? God will help, man. It's not easy, So we're wrapping up and we're going to talk really quickly about Jesus feminism and how we believe that Jesus loves us men equally. we are, we love Jesus and he loves us, you know what I mean? And, we talked about, in the book, there's a book, we don't have it here, but there's a book called Jesus Feminist, that we, that just talks about how the church has sort of used religion to oppress women.
Yeah.
But that's not the point. When Jesus created us, when God created us, he created us to be equal, male and female. But because of the sin and the fallen world, things started to fall out of place. And some really, really important women in the Bible, you know what I mean? Jesus trusted women. He communicated a lot with women. He didn't show for a second that a man was better than a woman, So just, living by that, right? And just, putting that in the back of our minds that, okay, Jesus treats us the same and things like that. So yeah, I think it's a great conversation that we had around feminism. God will help us and give us more knowledge as we go along, but it's just like just thinking about certain things and how we see ourselves and things like that. So, there's a couple feminist icons. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, I love her. She's she was, because she passed last year. She was a U.S. Supreme Court. She did a lot for women's rights. She, won a lot of cases for women and things like that. There was a quote that I just like that she said when they were asking her that how many judges should be on the Supreme Court seat, right? And, there are typically 9, and there's more men than women. And when they asked how many women, she said when there are 9, when they're all women. Nobody will question that when they're all men.
Yeah.
But because of women, and she said that, just to show, that, she really stood for what feminism was for and things like that. So yeah, I'm really happy that we had this conversation, Grace.
This was a great conversation.
This was great. Thank you all. Thank you all. Thank you all for commenting, for watching. Thank you all. I hope that you go back and watch this video or share this video with your friends and family members, and we can just keep learning from one another. Another book I was going to mention, Grace bought this book. Read this book.
Especially if you're
Dear Ijawele, or A Feminist Manifesto in 15 Suggestions. I love this book.
It's super short. They're both super short books, so you can read them.
We should all be feminists. All of us. We should all be feminists. Read this book. And also another book that I read is called The Feminist Book, The Feminism Book. It's very good. It's a historical book where I got a lot of the history from. So, read that. Just read. There's a lot of books. There's a lot of articles. Be aware. Participate in International Women's Day. Take a photo. And just be involved and things like that. So please subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you have not subscribed, hit the subscribe button and share this video with your friends. Grace, any last thoughts?
If you would like to discuss more about feminism, come my way. I don't promise that we'll agree on everything, but I'm open to your ideas and your thoughts. So,
So people say that they have a lot to say, Grace. People say they have a lot to say. People have different thoughts.
We might need to have this conversation
We might need to have this conversation again, because actually, for like 2 minutes, I don't know what you have to say, but put in the comment section your thoughts, and we can keep commenting and keep going in the comment section. But I'm really curious what people have to say. But anyway, thank you all for joining. Drop a comment in the comment section. I think we should keep the conversation going for sure. And subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you, Grace. I'm happy that Grace came. To come and have this conversation with me. So I'm really excited. So
and for anyone worried about COVID, we're vaccinated. Don't worry.
To God be the glory.
We do some testing.
So God is keeping all of us. Please stay safe.
We are still being cautious. So what's the word?
Precautions. God is helping us. God is in us with the vaccine. Have you gotten your vaccine? Go and get vaccine. God is helping us, because Grace has not come. I've not seen Grace physically for a long time now. So, but we thank God, Sha. So, thank you all so much. Leave your comments. I'm going to be responding to comments on the video and things like that. So, leave your comments, watch the video again, and we can talk about this more. Thank you all so much for watching. I will see you in my next video.
Yes.
Bye. So, what do I do?
And stream, I think.
Okay. And stream. Yay. You'll no longer be able to go live. Not yet end. Because I think I'm going to save it.